Wellness Warriors, welcome to this training about overcoming and destroying procrastination out of your life forever and getting stuff done. Now, I'm so excited to present this training because this is such a common problem and this is something that I've struggled with for years, and I'm finally at a point in my life where I prioritize the actions that I need to take, and every day I'm going to bed knowing that I've done everything that I could have done to make that the most fulfilling, best possible day ever. So it all starts here. It all starts with your purpose, okay? Because if you don't have a strong, powerful purpose that lights you up and a reason to get out of bed in the morning and a vision of what your future looks like, then who's gonna do, why do you wanna do tasks? Why should we do projects? What's the point? You know, if we don't do the project, we're just gonna end up in the same place that we're already planning on ending up, which was nowhere, so what's the big deal? But if you've got a purpose and you've got a plan, then you will feel empowered to get your tasks done. It all starts with this big purpose, right? And this is where you need to sit down and spend some time thinking about what this is. When you get to the end of your life, which will come one day, when you leave this physical body, what do you want to have left behind? What kind of change do you want to have left behind in this world? What kind of contribution do you want to have given? And how do you want to experience your day-to-day life? What do you want to feel every day? What kind of contribution do you want to make to people? Purpose is always intimately tied to contribution. And I've got another training on all about how to go through that. But right now, you need to start from there. And then you need to do what Anthony Robbins calls chunking. And this is where you need to have a time for your purpose. I want you to think in terms of your life being a certain length in duration. Now, whether you want to live to 120 years old, 80 years old, 130, 140, who knows where we're going to be in our breakthroughs in science and medical technology and just our overall wellness in another 50 years. Start with that, the time. For me, it's 140 years old. Always aim higher than what you think is realistic, because that will give you energy to go out and do it. There's a great concept called the 10X principle. There's a book by Grant Cardone that covers all of that. I encourage you to check that out. Go beyond what you thought was possible. That will uplift you and inspire you and energize you to go out and do what it takes to make it happen. Have a purpose with a time. Then reverse engineer it. So my purpose, my personal purpose, is I want to change 1 billion lives. I want to move 1 billion people from a state of low consciousness and operating from ego and not living their lives passionately and living from a place of fear to totally living from a place of love, abundance, joy, and connection to other human beings. 1 billion people, that's a finite number that I can actually visualize. And I've got a time. I want to have that complete by the time I'm 140 years old. Pretty crazy. Do the same thing. It'll energize you like nothing else. Then chunk it. Okay, if this is my plan, by the time I'm 50, that means I'm gonna have to have impacted, let's say, around 400 million to be on track to hit 1 billion people. So chunk it into days, years, months, weeks, and days. Break it down so that you've got a clear plan to hit this purpose, a clear path. When you've got that and you meditate on this every day, keep it at the forefront of your mind and remind yourself of how important it is, that will bring so much energy and so much clarity, and you will feel very much led to hit your purpose, and you'll start discarding all of the other rubbish tasks that you were doing before, which really, we often distract ourselves from the largeness of our purpose and our plan because of fear. So you need to be able to break through fear, and I've got another training on how you can actually break through fear. Then lastly, you need to get what we call accountability, or you could even call it a community. This is where you've got either one person, a small group of people, or a larger group of people who are holding you accountable. There's an amazing, inspiring story about Muhammad Yunus. Dr. Muhammad Yunus is a Bangladeshi economics professor. And Muhammad Yunus was teaching in his economic school over in Bangladesh, and he was teaching about all these advanced, large-level theories about how macro and microeconomics work and how countries, generate wealth and how populations can be fed. And he realized after he left his office each day, after he left the school, he would drive home and he'd be driving through slums. Mile after mile after mile of slums. And he realized the hypocrisy of what he was teaching he was giving all this great theory out, but there was no action being taken behind the actual principles that he knew could help these people. So what did he do? He went out and started a microfinance company where he would lend small amounts of money, not to individuals, but to groups of women in particular, because women were in a position where they found it particularly difficult to access finance, because in Bangladesh, the gender roles are that the man has all the power and the authority over things. So he targeted women, he lent them small amounts of money, and then he made it so that if one of them failed in their repayments for their loan, because this was a loan for them to get a business set up, a small business, so they could generate wealth, feed their families, change their community. If one of those women failed, then the whole group was penalized. And this wasn't because Muhammad Yunus was a cruel man. This was because he was a smart man who understood social relationships. Social relationships are one of our most powerful motivators. So if you get yourself a community, surround yourself with people who know this is your purpose, these are your chunks, this is what you need to do in this amount of time, you're not going to fail. You're not going to fall back. And if you do, you're going to have people around you who are going to encourage you and pick you up and help you to get back on track to reach your purpose. So you have to have community. Don't write your goals down and bury them under your pillow and never show anyone. Get yourself a community. Whether you have to pay for that, whether you have to tell some best friends, whether you have to go out and find some new best friends who are going to be better at supporting you and encouraging you, whatever it takes. These are all very important steps, but this one is often overlooked. Make sure you have yourself a community. And if you do all of that, procrastination is just going to be flip. It's just gone. It's not even, you don't even think about it anymore, because your priorities are so set and your purpose is so important. You are that passionate and turned on by the concept of changing lives. So it all comes back to that. Hope you've enjoyed that. Check out my other trainings on purpose and busting through fear and getting yourself a community in the links below.